Trump's preparing to invade Venezuela. Republicans are pulling out their old Iraq playbook to invade a country to steal their oil over the risk of weapons of mass destruction. Shouldn't they try something a little bit new? I mean, just add a little twist to the play, just to make yourself look like a genius or something. I wish I could say that this discovery required hard journalism, but instead, Congresswoman Maria Salazar said, it is plainly as you could imagine. Listen.
The airspace above Venezuela has been closed off and the commercial airlines from the United States are not flying. He's understanding that we're about to go in. He understands that he has been our enemy for the last 25 years. Venezuela, for those Americans who do not understand why we need to go in, basically for three reasons. You're in Fox Business. Venezuela, for the American oil companies, will be a field day because it will be more than $1 trillion in economic activity. American companies can go in and fix all the oil pipe, the whole oil rigs and everything that has to do with the Venezuelan petroleum.
So here's the part where we could play a fun game like they do on some of those little, Andy Cohen has that reality show, talk show thing where he has all his housewife guests on and they take shot skis and they drink. Every time you mention this word, he points and they put like the little word there. We didn't quite get that graphic done because I didn't request it, but we could play that game. But we need you conscious. Every time she says the word oil, you could take a shot, but you'll black out. And we want you to get through the rest of the show. I mean, ridiculous. I'd say take a shot every time, but again, we wouldn't have you for the rest of the show. Let's turn to other justification for why Representative Salazar thinks we need to invade a sovereign country. Can't wait to hear this one.
A lot of Americans don't want actual US participation in regime change in Venezuela.
We're not invading a sovereign country that has a free and fair elected democratic president. No, this guy is a thug and he's good friends with Hezbollah. They are giving uranium to Hamas and to Iran and to North Korea and to Cuba and to Nicaragua. Come on, it's time for the United States to do what we need to do. And thank God that Trump is doing it. And I'm telling you that these people, the Venezuelans, have the largest reserves of oil in the world, more than Saudi Arabia. We're talking about this is going to be a windfall for us when it comes to fossil fuels.
You see again why it wouldn't be right to break out your favorite bottle and just start. You wouldn't even wake up by the end of Thanksgiving. Okay, maybe that's a good thing for some people who don't want to spend Thanksgiving with their families. I don't know. Will this one go over? Again, the tolerance level, Viviana, of the American people, right? We're stressed. You're really disturbing our mental health, even if we had money in our pockets, because every time we turn on the television, you've done something else. You've put out another lie on Truth Social. You've called a woman a pig. Just so many obstacles. Never mind the gas, the food, the healthcare issues, the rich getting richer. Epstein, where are the files, okay? We've had enough, but now you're talking about more war and invasion. That can't possibly go over well, will it?
Absolutely not. I mean, this is, you called it where you're like, can we try something new? This weapons of mass destruction. I mean, first of all, this isn't a democracy. He's a thug. Oh, so that gives us a right to go into sovereign nations. It is a sovereign nation. And the United States has a very terrible history with Latin America. I mean, from way back in the Monroe Doctrine, the Banana Wars, occupation of Nicaragua, the coup in Guatemala, the Pinochet coup. I mean, we could go on and on and on. And then they want to get on their high horse and talk about all this undocumented people coming in here for a better opportunity. I wonder why. Maybe we've destabilized their country. So here we are doing it again. And this lady has the audacity to laugh it off like this is not a valid country. These are not valid people, and then gets glee about the money that the United States is going to make based on oil, based on suffering. It's absolutely disgusting. And to quote my good friend Sharon, she's a sicko.
A sicko. And I think anyone saying that would be a sicko. But I think with the last name that she has and the life that she's had and the identity that she's had, which is just part of her overall being, it's extra sicko behavior. It's just extra sicko. Everything you just said is 100%, as John would say, 100%, okay? And yet she's facing the cameras and doing this. There are some, though, in MAGA universe who are not convinced this is a good thing. They do not believe that this is the right thing to do. As we speak, Republicans like Maria Salazar are laying the foundations for a Trump invasion of Venezuela, but one GOP senator is speaking out, saying, listen, if Trump does that, it will be the end of MAGA. Do you know how many times we've heard that, Rand Paul?
The pending invasion or regime change war in Venezuela is hatched by those people. I actually think Trump is the one who is least likely to want to do these things, but he's surrounded by people who believe in regime change and are goading him on. I do think, though, that if he invades Venezuela or if he approves significant arms sales, which are really gifts to Ukraine, or more welfare to Ukraine, if he does either of those, the rift with Marjorie Greene will pale in comparison to what happens to his movement if he invades Venezuela or gives more money to Ukraine. His movement will dissolve.
Okay, so we've heard it a bunch of times, but in this one itsy bitsy case, not only do I hope that Rand Paul is right, I actually think it could happen, the end of MAGA. I mean, how do people talk about that whole Tea Party thing? Although the remnants are still around. I mean, it could be. Lindsey Graham, Marco Rubio, those are the men Paul is blaming for influencing Trump to potentially take this action. But at the end of the day, Donald Trump would take the blame. The man who never takes responsibility for anything might be forced to. Is Rand Paul right about this dissolving MAGA? We actually have some polling that may help us decide. Let's start with the top line, okay? As you can see in this poll here, MAGA Republicans are more in favor of taking military action than non-MAGA Republicans. So that's interesting. That result really calls into question, though, how anti-interventionist the movement supposedly ever was. Relatedly, the poll asks what America First meant, and it's not what they said before. You know, I guess one can evolve. 72% say gets involved internationally, but only to promote own interests. 28% stays out of international affairs entirely. Not that long ago, we would think that it would have been reversed. You know, we're not getting involved, period, for any reason. That's it. One more finding from the CBS poll was that a mere 5% of Republicans say they evaluate Trump most based on foreign policy. So Viviana, the question is, do you think 5% would go up if we enter a new war? And even more importantly, do you think intervention in Venezuela could be the end of MAGA?
I wish I could say yes. I don't think that that's going to sway the American people enough. I think they don't even know what's going on. They believe a lot of the lies. Oh, they're drugs or this or that. They're thugs, like Miss Salazar said. But I do think that the American people get extremely upset. And I think MAGA is having some fissures about the 40 billion to Argentina, the aid to Israel, this international aid in the form of dollars. I think they're more upset about that than military action in foreign countries. But Trump is like solver of all wars, right? So is he gonna like have a clean slate? Because he's like ending 18 wars, but he's starting 18 wars? Like what's going on? Again, with the math, Mr. Trump.
Yeah, and you do wonder, are people going to care? Again, we're talking about a Latin country here where there's people who come with their own bias and think that we were always here first, and everything centers around us. They don't even believe there's a good life somewhere out there. Good people who love their children, who are decent, who they breathe and have hearts that beat just like us. So if you want to blow up a guy who's just on a fishing boat searching for Nemo, not really paying attention. Do you think people will start paying attention, Viviana?
I don't see your average American seeing this intervention in Venezuela as anything to them at all. It's gonna be like, Westworld. That doesn't look like anything to me. But what I do think is there are a lot of American companies that have economic interests that are gonna continue to fund and support the administration that continues to involve us militarily, economically in these foreign countries to, just like the US has done since like the Monroe Doctrine, it's been our mentality. It's another manifest destiny. Salazar had the nerve to say that these countries don't have a right because she doesn't agree with how they hold their elections. Well, guess what? We don't agree with how we hold our elections here. We got a lot of questions too. So are we gonna open the door for other countries to come in and start telling us how to do it? It's a two-way street.
No, we don't even want you asking that question. I mean, I don't think that we can stand that test, that litmus test. I don't think that we could do it.